China leverage. Amway's, and by extension MLM's, de facto immunity from prosecution in the U.S. from 1980 forward was ensured by key influence within the Republican Party, pivotal support for the election of Ronald Reagan, and a top-level position in the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. This transition to Reaganomics, the decline of labor unions, and the end of the New Deal social service role of government were momentous historical developments that have reshaped American politics and economy, and in which Amway played a key role. Similarly, Amway's de facto exemption from the sweeping ban on direct selling and its subsequent and rapid growth in China were ensured by political leverage at a historically momentous point in China's development. Amway's pivotal leverage over China was tied to China's efforts to gain access to the World Trade Organization, WTO. Once again, Amway played a key role in promoting that goal on China's behalf and all the consequences that unfolded in the U.S. The opening of China to normal trade relations and a WTO membership, leading to a gigantic transfer of American manufacturing to China, was a development of such a scale that it transcended partisan politics. Top officials of both the Democrats and Republicans facilitated this extraordinary change. It resulted in the deindustrialization of America, the production of goods with far cheaper labor in China, and was associated also with the virtual elimination of American labor unions. The main advocate for this massive change was the American business establishment, Wall Street, and the largest corporations in the country, represented by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Amway's central role in this epic development is revealed in a June 8, 1999 Congressional Committee hearing on United States-China trade relations and the possible accession of China to the World Trade Organization. The hearing was part of a decade-long effort to, quote, normalize trade with China, eliminate tariffs, and facilitate more transfers of production and greater sales to that country. China did, in fact, gain WTO membership just 2 years after this hearing. Philip Crane, an Illinois Republican, prominent conservative, and a recipient of Amway campaign contributions, chaired the committee. Addressing the Congressional Committee in support of China, the spokesman for the United States Chamber of Commerce was none other than Steve Van Andel of the Amway Corporation, son of Amway co-founder Jay Van Andel. At the 1999 hearing, Steve Van Andel was identified on the list of scheduled testimonies as, quote, Amway Corporation and U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Reflecting Amway's insider influence and lofty status with the Republican Party, Van Andel was warmly introduced. Crane noted that he personally knew Van Andel's father and repeated the myth that Amway was started from nothing in a basement and built up into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Other speakers opposed or expressed extreme reluctance to support normal trade relations. They cited China's violations of labor law, banning of unions, slave-like wages, suppression of human rights, lack of environmental protections, theft of intellectual properties, and restrictions on sales of American-made goods in China. They expressed concern that good-paying jobs would leave the U.S. Treading the fine line between acknowledging these unfair and harmful realities and claiming China's entry to the WTO would somehow correct them, Van Andel lauded the Chinese government for work with Amway during the ban on direct selling imposed several years earlier. He said China met demands of foreign investors and applied laws in fair and responsive manner. The enormous and enduring benefit Amway gained in protection from law enforcement in China, which began under Clinton, was recently documented in a January 2018 article in the New York Times on current tensions in China about, once again, an outbreak of national hysteria over MLM pyramid schemes. Filed from China and citing government sources and direct interviews with Chinese MLM participants, authors, and officials, the New York Times article quotes government data in China showing that Amway is now, quote, the largest of the multi-level marketing companies in China with 1.5 million distributors, more than all the others combined. The article also noted that 30% of all Amway revenues are now coming from Chinese recruits. Following the 1998 crackdown on all direct selling, China eventually passed a strict anti-pyramid scheme law in 2005, the most direct and clearly worded anti-MLM law in the world. Yet almost immediately the law was mysteriously not applied to US-based MLMs. Soon, MLM enterprises began explosively multiplying in size and number in China. A Chinese critic who wrote a memoir about his experiences stated, quote, the industry is absolute chaos for China, and added, quote, the root problem is that the government is riddled with corruption and not doing its job. The fears of Communist Party security officials of MLM cultism that had prompted the clampdown in the late 90s, leading to the Clinton administration rescue, materialized. Participants and others accused Amway of running a pyramid scheme in China, as it is in the USA and other countries. Ex-distributors organized online forums to warn the uninformed. Amway's name in Chinese, An Li, also means, quote, to promote heavily or to be brainwashed. Amway was strangely enjoying immunity from law enforcement in China, just as it does in the USA, while its main MLM competitors, such as Avon, USANA, Nu Skin, and Herbalife, were harassed by regulators. Harvard's help.